Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of DevTalks with your host, Travian. Appreciate you guys for all tuning in. Everybody who tuned in last episode. Uh, it was a Thursday release, and this week is going to be another Thursday release, and we're just going to keep it up and see how things go. But thank you for your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you already haven't, and comment, man. I want to start a segment in here called Tech Hot Takes and go over them every week towards the end of the episode. So we have a little bit more spice or something that goes into the podcast every single week. So I would appreciate it if you guys just dropped your comments of hot takes and let me know what they are. And along with that, this week we're going to be talking about working at home or working in the office, remote versus office work, and things like that. No real statistics, just my thoughts about it and some things that I've noticed that some companies have tried to do or are doing. So let's just dive right into it and let's get into the fun. All right, so welcome back. To start off this episode, I really want to start talking about how the whole remote work really started. As everybody knows, when COVID had came around, a lot of people lost their jobs, had to go home, had to be stuck at home, and only certain businesses could really function in this kind of way and still be able to like do their day-to-day activities and so on from there. Like a lot was going on, so much was going on. At the time, I personally was not working in the tech industry yet. I didn't get to my foot in the door until after COVID, when people started returning back to work. When I had returned back to work, I had gotten an opportunity for an internship, which I've talked about several times in the past as Zendesk. So they I got that when everybody was going back to work at the end of the year, when COVID was pretty much done and everybody was going back to their normal lives, such and such. But from what I believe, the people in those industries could have still kept working. A lot of them moved out of their states for lower income areas because they didn't have to work from home anymore. I mean, they didn't have to work in offices anymore. They could just work at home. So a lot of people left places like California and things like that. So that was one big thing that had happened. And other things like trying to figure out how to like do what they were doing in office at home became a big thing. Many people started using Zoom and then all these other stuff like Teams and Slack and whatnot, just to try to figure out how to get this remote work thing working properly and doing it the right way. Not saying that nobody ever worked at home before and things like that, but a lot of major industry changes happened around this time. And they're very important. And I want to start by kind of going in the timeline through my experiences. As I said, I don't really want to go through too many things of statistics and things. I want to just talk about my personal experiences, some of the stuff that I've seen companies doing, trying to get people back in the office today, and so on from that. This really shouldn't be too long of an episode. It should really be really something calm and informative, hopefully, and maybe a lot of you people can really relate to what's going on. But to start off, right after COVID happened, my internship happened, and it was fully remote. I worked from a lot of people with a lot of people from different places around the world. A lot of times, the company that I was at had a bunch of different offices around the world. So naturally, these people worked at these offices, and then now they're working at home. I'm meeting a lot of these people here, and I don't remember earlier on in the podcast when I first started, I talked about my internship. I don't know if I talked about how I struggled in a way because I didn't have those engineers directly available 24/7. Like, yes, they were there on Slack to help me, but as far as an intern standpoint, you don't have somebody right there to really talk to, see what they're really doing at work, get that real work experience as far as with how they're handling stuff. But at the same time, it working at home did help me work around uh, a really wonderful schedule where I got to work with people in different time zones and figure things like that out and how I'm going to do that. And it helped communicate with people from the different areas more of across the world, especially on the East Coast. I'm in a very good time zone for that. Like if you're working with people across the world, East Coast is like I feel one of the best time zones where it goes right between that West Coast to other part of the end of the world like Europe, and it kind of towards the end of your day it gets to around the Australian work area people and Japan and kind of stuff. So like you can make things work a lot easier. You can meet a lot of different people from different times and so on from there. But just overall great experience. I've met a lot of people. I talked to a lot of people about different stuff, but at the same time, it wasn't the same. You were missing some of that teammate connection kind of stuff. And you had to like build relations through a screen. So that was one thing. And then yeah, so now you're seeing and I've seen personally a lot of different companies start to really think that their coworkers and their employees aren't connecting as well. Like, of course, through remote work, we found tons and tons of ways to connect to with each other. Whether it's certain game days where we plan out certain stuff like that, just have one-on-ones and talk, or group talks and lunches together through Zoom. It's still not very personal, but that is one of the things, and a lot of companies want to get their employees to meet other employees from what I've saw, or they are trying to figure out a good remote slash office hybrid kind of plan that's going on recently. So actually today I seen something about Google building a hotel to kind of encourage players to come, I mean players, employees. I can't believe I just said that. I can't believe I said that. But to encourage employees to get into the office is to try to get them more in the office and be more with their colleagues and work in there and see how that environment is and stuff. A lot of other companies are still trying to figure out their hybrid system, how they're going to do that between it being like 2 days in the office, 3 days at home, 3 days in the office, 2 days at home, or do certain people get to go in the office whenever they want, and others can stay at home as much as they want. When do people come to the office and things like that? That's a really big talk right now. Like Elon Musk, I remember when people could start coming to work and it was a good time. He wanted all his people who worked at Tesla and his other companies to come to the office every day that week because he believed that productivity was slacking and things like that. And there's been a bunch of people really talking about how they may or may not feel around that whole aspect of, oh, I feel better at being at home for this reason, and this reason. Um, Timing's better. It's easy to work around schedules and things like that. Versus going to office, you waste more time having to drive to the office. It takes time out of your day, and you're wasting more of your time working. And but there are benefits of going to office. Like you have your colleagues, you have everybody right there. You get to meet everybody and things like that. Which I'm still excited to be able to meet everybody in person for my job, but I do love the remote work and so on from that because it definitely has been a wonderful experience for me. Even working at remote, I think currently I still want to remain remote. I don't really want to go in the office. What I would really love is to have an office close to me so I can go in there whenever I feel like, but I have the choice of just staying at home and like at most probably have like a 30-minute commute to the office or something like that, here and there when I want to actually go in. Offices are nice, a lot of times. I've seen a lot of things, especially in tech industry offices, where they serve the meals and things. One quick fact I figured out, or actually heard, that they have all that those luxuries in the office so that employees will stay in the office so they can get more work done and things. so they have no reason to actually leave there. So I have heard of that being a quick factor why people actually why those industries and companies have those kind of luxuries and things in their offices. But that's what I've heard. If anybody else agrees with that, let me know because that's definitely what I believe goes on and so on from there. So yeah. Sorry if you my voice is messed up, a little sick and everything. Recovering from a sickness, I should say. Really, I'm not really that sick, but carrying on further from that. So yeah, we had Elon Musk, bringing people into the office. We have Google opening up a little hotel or whatever to get people into the office. There's a lot of companies that are saying they're remote first, but there's other companies that are like, no, you have to come into the office 2 days a week, like Tuesdays and Thursdays or something like that. And the other days you can work from at home. And like there a lot of places are really figuring it out. There's not one template that a bunch of companies are using, just one thing. A lot of companies aren't just doing one thing. If you want to work at remote, I'm sure you can find a place that does 100% remote. If you want to only go into 2 days or whatever, I'm sure you can find a company that does that. If you want to go in the office every day, I'm sure there's companies that will have it like that. And all their owners have different perspectives and things like that. So the real question is, what do you want to do? What do you want to look for? And things like that. Because at the end of the day, you're choosing to work for them, and whatever works best for you, you now have the option to find positions that have these requirements laid out for you and they're and how you want to work. There's more options on how you want to work. Ever since this whole COVID thing, you can now either work hybrid or you can now work at home full time, depending on your position, because how they figured out how you can do it at home and not have the office space or whatever. Like a lot of companies did lose office space and floors and things because of this whole COVID situation and working from home and not having employees in offices and stuff. But that is pretty much it. Everybody who's applying right now, even though like the economy isn't really the best per se, because there recently there's been a lot of layoffs because of how many people were just employed in certain companies and things like that. So the people have gone through waves of that already. They're still going through that kind of stuff because everything's still being figured out. But you now, as an applicant to these places, you can see what kind of work that you'll be living, what kind of life you'll be living, what your work schedule is. And now you have these extra. What I think is kind of cool that you can see how your kind of work is going to be laid out. Like if you're going to be in office all the time, if you're going to be traveling all the time, if you're going to be hybrid, and if you're going to just stay home, like you have these options available to you now, and they're a lot more clearer, and how to get it done's a lot clearer. One thing that sucks at being home, I mean, it depends if you're really introverted or not, but even myself, I'm quite introverted until I really get to know people and stuff. And I feel I've got to know a lot of people on my team already, and I'm excited to meet people on my team. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to meeting some of my coworkers. But I really enjoy working from home, having that ability to. Uh, One thing that I could do from working at home is getting myself a better office. I just need an office by itself and not just in the same room as where I sleep. It just needs to be in its own thing, um, my own little space. I needed to feel like an office and a workstation and things because that is something that really works with my productivity. I need an area that feels like my little office working space and things like that because that's just how I roll. A lot of people do roll differently. A lot of people will feel differently and things like that. So a lot of people would want to just stay in an office and at their job all day and stuff and get free food or whatever, free drinks and things like that and whatnot. Or some people want to do different things. So but that's about it for this episode. Let me know what you guys really think. What would you prefer to do? What's your preferred work style? Like, would you rather work at home 100%? Would you rather do hybrid? Would you rather be stay in office every day? Let me know what you do, what you would like to do. Besides that, What would what are you guys' hot takes for the tech world, for engineering world? It doesn't only have to be about engineers, like software engineers and things. It can be about architecture, or how architecture engineers are doing stuff, or anything around that, music engineers, things like that. Any way technology is used in the world, if you have a hot take about it, drop it in the comments. We'll go over it, get a shout out for yours being the most upvoted and things like that, or most liked. We'll see how that all goes. I'll try to figure it out, but please do that. Besides that, appreciate you guys for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and let me know what you guys think. And then last things last, do you guys prefer guests, or do you guys like the solo things, or would you guys like a hybrid? Get it? See, kind of goes with the workflow of companies are doing. For the podcast, would you like solo content, would you like guest content, or would you like a little bit of hybrid of both? Kind of goes with our topic for today, but let me know what you guys think, and we'll press on. See you guys next week.